Ted Cruz had a little run-in with actress Ellen Page at the Iowa County Fair, and she had some strong words for him on the issue of LGBT rights. Let's watch.
About the question about LGBT people getting fired for just strictly being gay or trans.
Well, what we're seeing right now is actually, we're seeing Bible-believing Christians being first one of the couples.
That people want to use that argument in segregation era.
I'm happy to answer your question, but not to have a back and forth debate. Imagine, hypothetically, you've been a gay florist. And imagine that two evangelical Christians wanted to get married, and the gay florist decided, you know what, I disagree with your faith. I don't want to provide flowers.
I would say they should provide the flowers.
And I would say the gay florist has every right to say, if I disagree with your faith and don't want to participate, and you know what, there are lots of other people you can buy flowers from.
Look, Ted Cruz is trying to win this debate by coming up with ridiculous hypotheticals. A gay florist. Come on!
I never heard of one. Couldn't be. So this funny thing is, he easily loses his own hypothetical. Yeah, under the same principles, of course the gay florist would have to make the cake for the evangelical couple. I mean,
and she responded.
Yeah, why would he be?
They don't have to make cakes. I don't know if they can even. Do they even have ovens in there?
Oh, right.
But
florist.
Yeah, no, right. And I agree. They should do the flowers or whatever, or pizza, or
yeah. And it's because you don't get to discriminate, no matter what your beliefs are. You can have your own beliefs at home. You can discriminate at home. Be like, hey, you know what? No gay cakes in my house, right? Or gay flowers or anything like that. But if somebody comes into your place of business and it's a public place of business, well, we settled that issue a long time ago. You can't do, segregated diners. You can't say I'm not going to serve evangelical Christians or gay Americans, right? Yeah. So it's a piss poor hypothetical, which she easily answers. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm here to state my opinions. Not to have an actual conversation with you. What did you think? Like, I care about voters and your opinions? So
I'm like, dude, you're not on the stage at a debate. You're wearing a pork apron. She's allowed to ask follow-ups.
Yeah, there's no rule against that.
Yeah.
Before we jump to the next thing, also the original question that she asked, this is what bothered me about this whole thing. The original question from that point was when the LGBT community is getting fired from jobs strictly for being gay or trans. And he goes straight into anything else but that.
Yeah.
And the hard part is you have to follow what he's saying. And she kind of just started listening to what he was telling her and went with his line of the discussion, which is what the debate turned out to be, just him talking to her and then her having to respond to him. She started with the questioning. After he throws his bullshit for all, she should then say, so what about my original question? You have to stay focused with guys like this. So he continues this the rest of this whole time. So I just want to point out.
No, that's a great point.
The discussion is not about what she started talking about.
And it's a great question. I don't know what conservatives think. Like, do you think, hey, you know what? If you're gay, of course I should be able to fire you for being gay. I don't like you. I don't agree with your lifestyle. I don't care how good a computer programmer you are. You're fired. Okay.
I think a lot too.
Yeah. Oh, I don't care if you wanted that job at McDonald's and you need it because you're poor and it'd be a job and you want to work really hard. You're a lesbian. I don't like it.
Sorry.
I don't approve. My God is against you. You're fired, right? Yeah. Are you allowed to do that? That's a great question. And if you're running for president, I'd really like to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And I don't often watch the mainstream media because it's incredibly frustrating, but I did recently watch the Trump's campaign manager, and the dude asked him a question, like a very specific question, and he instantly goes into, we got to build a wall, all that stuff. And the guy threw up one token like, hey, no, can we focus on this thing? And Trump's campaign manager was basically like, no, we can't. And he moved on to another thing, and then they never went back to it. And I just thought, they make new shows every day on MSNBC. Can you just make one called Bullshit Alert? And when you ask them a question, the second they deviate, you start blocking out their audio with a loud buzzer. And they fucking can't speak unless they answer the question. So let's see a little bit more of Page versus Cruz.
We're a country that respects pluralism and diversity, and there is this liberal intolerance that says that anyone that dares follow a biblical teaching of marriage, that is the union of one man and one woman, must be persecuted, must be fined, and must be driven out of business.
More tolerance for LGBT people who have constantly been persecuted in this country. It used to be illegal. They were thrown in jail, and we've come a really, really long way.
Who's been thrown in jail?
Gay people used to be thrown in jail.
Well, it is interesting right now. Do you know where gay people are being persecuted right now? ISIS.
All over the world.
But ISIS is executing gay people. Iran is executing homosexuals.
Yes.
And on the left, you hear complete silence about Iran hanging homosexuals, and yet the Obama administration is sending over $100 billion to a regime that murders homosexuals. That is fundamentally wrong.
A lot of gay people are getting killed.
But in Iran and ISIS, it is the governmental body that is executing them for being homosexual. And why does the Obama administration not stand against this?
I would love to talk to Obama about it. That'd be great.
Well, good. Then we're agreed on that. Thank you, ma'am.
We're not. Don't do that.
Okay. We're agreed on it. Ma'am, we've had a long discussion.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, that drives me crazy. Why is the left silent on Iran and ISIS being against homosexuals? Nobody's silent.
Yeah.
We hate that. We despise that. You know what those guys are? They're radical right-wingers. That's what they are. The political spectrum of Iran, the mullahs and the grand ayatollahs are way on the right. They're against liberty, freedom for others, equality. They're for authoritarian government. They're for religion, like you are, Ted Cruz, as you sit there ironically defending your religion, and then you go, what about their religion? Well, we don't like their religion any better. Okay, we're not silent about it at all. Now, the question is, what can we do about it? And are they running to be the president of the United States, right?
Are they?
So, I mean, I would like to do as much as I can against ISIS, but, like, what is, okay, speak out against it every day.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're not going to listen to me, right? So I speak out against it anyway, but it's theoretically of more utility if we say to our leaders, and you're an elected leader from the great state of Texas, hey, there is something I can do about you. You're one of my leaders.
Yeah.
One of my leaders, unfortunately. So you have to hear our voice on this because we theoretically live in a democracy.
Yes, exactly. And he should be responsive to it. And he doesn't seem to understand that you can care more about an issue because it happens in the country where you live than some other country. That's generally how people act. And we care about ISIS and Iran persecuting homosexuals. We hate when Muslim missionaries go into Central Africa and try to get them to be more anti-gay. Oh, wait, sorry, those are Christian missionaries, not actually Muslim missionaries, but you understand the basic point. We do hate that, but we specifically hate the things that are going on in our country because it's the country that we live in. And I had a problem with one of the things he said. He says their object, speaking about liberals, is their object is to persecute, to punish, to fine any Bible-following Christian or believer that believes in the biblical definition of marriage. That's not true. We don't give a fuck what you believe. We care about what you do. Nobody is getting fined or persecuted or punished for believing that two gay people shouldn't get married. They get fined or persecuted or punished for stopping people from purchasing cakes and flowers or for getting married. It is the actions that matter, not the beliefs. And they keep trying to lump those two things into one thing because it's very hard to speak out against people's beliefs. Much easier to speak out against actions. It's completely false.
One more matter of misrepresentation there. He said, Obama gave the Iranians $100 billion. As if Obama gave the Iranians $100 billion. No, we had frozen their assets, and we did that in conjunction with the Chinese, the Russians, the French, etc., who did not necessarily want to freeze Iran's assets, and we got them to go along with us so we can get this diplomatic deal. So when we got the deal and stopped their nuclear program, that's when China, Russia, Germany, etc. unfroze Iranian assets, you goddamn liar, as usual. And by the way, if you were running for Grand Ayatollah, I wouldn't give a shit, okay? And I would talk about you a lot less. Be like, well, that's unsurprising, a religious hypocrite running for that office, okay? But if you're running to be our president, then I care a lot.
Yes, exactly. Now, look, you watched those two videos. You know that he was evading talking about what she was actually bringing up. So now he goes a couple days later and he gets interviewed about it. Let's see if he gives an accurate representation of the interaction between him and Ellen Page.
Let's begin with what happened earlier that day when actress and LGBT supporter Ellen Page sought to knock the senator off his game in public, and in the end, she didn't make a dent. You had quite a little tete-a-tete, if you will, with Ellen Page, the actress, who decided that she was going to come after you and talk about LGBT.
Well, you know, Ed, I don't think it's likely that a whole lot of Hollywood celebrities are going to get behind my campaign anytime soon. So that was not a big surprise that she and I had some disagreements there. You know, an awful lot of folks in the media, an awful lot of folks in Hollywood, they dismiss the assault on religious liberty. They say it isn't real. This gathering tonight brings heroes from across the country, who have been persecuted for standing up for their faith. Well, you know, Ed, I'm a Christian, and Scripture commands Christians to love everybody. This is about whether the government is going to persecute people of faith for standing up to their faith. And what we're seeing right now, Ed, is this liberal fascism and intolerance, where their object is to persecute, to punish, to fine any Bible-following Christian or believer that believes in the biblical definition of marriage. And there's some activists who frankly manifest a hatred and intolerance for Christians, who are persecuting Christians.
Oh, he loves this because he gets to play the victim. I am the persecuted Christian. That Ellen Page, with all the power that she has, because she's run the country, right? She's a U.S. senator, right?
Yeah.
She gets to make policy, right, on Iran and all these other
No,
places.
she's from Canada, just like Ted Cruz, actually.
Oh, I see. And so, no, you're not the victim here. God, they love to cry. I'm the persecuted one. No, you're the one setting the laws. You're the one with power. She doesn't have any power. But unfortunately, look, I love what she did, and I love the questions that she had, and it should be brought to light what their hideous views are. Having said that, it does play into his hands a little bit, because he gets to go out there and do the two things that he loves. One, you see Hollywood? I got Hollywood. You didn't get shit, but it doesn't matter. All you have to say is Hollywood attacked me, I attacked back. And the second thing is, oh, I'm a persecuted Christian. Poor me.